We're on the pound Aussie here, 5 range, and I'm just waiting for a AB equals CD pattern that has a nice fib cluster. We've got a 1618 inversion, a 141 extension. It's coming in at the 18150 psychological number. It is coming in at this yellow line. We'll just fatten this up a little bit. It's hard to see here on the 5 range, but if we look further left, it is an area that has been respected in the past. It's a bit difficult to tell here with it being on the 5 range, but these are areas that have been respected, and we have seen a reaction. We'll have a look at the 15-minute time frame in a moment for it, but what I'm looking for right now is you can see here that we have our targets. These will be fib targets, and we've got our AB equals CD pattern, our 2 fibs up there coming into the structure line. This area up here would be my stops. Obviously we don't know what they are just yet until we get involved in the trade, but my stops are a 127 extension from the 1618 inversion. I'm going to have to make that red. And so what I'm really looking for here is wanting the market to go overbought. And so when working the range bar charts, we can get our entry very quickly, or it can happen, it can take a long time to happen. But as we're approaching here, it's only taken a few seconds to really get to the stage where we're at. And so really I'm looking at the market going up. I want it to test the 1618, the 1414. I want to see it go overbought, and then I want to see a rejection candle or a lower low, lower close. If the risk to reward is not favourable, then what I'll do is I'll set a limit order higher up and just wait for the market to then come up and fill me to give me that better risk to reward. We're not looking at a massive trade here, to be honest. Maybe 12 pips of risk. Quite small. It's only a day trade. We do have enough time for this thing to easily complete before this evening, because I want to be out of this long before 10 o'clock tonight. So we'll see if we can go up here and get filled. Okay, I've been sat here monitoring this, and I checked on the 5 minute, and we had a lower low, lower close on the 5 minute because I didn't get my RSI confirmation here. So what I did then was set a limit order right at the top here. And I stepped away for a second, come back, and we've been filled. And so this is now where's the risk? That's where we got in, wasn't it? Okay, so that's where we got in. This is the reward. I'm going to be need to be there. Okay, so targets here. Because I've had to adjust fibs, they're not as good. We're looking something like that. But what I am doing here is playing for dead on the 38.2, and just here as well I will be paying front running just a little bit for target 2s to there. And again, we're dealing with the lower time frame. There can be a little bit more give, and that's exactly what I'm counting on here. Of course, if we don't get stopped out, that is. Okay, so everything's correct here now. I think what I'll do is just go out to the higher time frame, 15 minute here. Just remove these orders, yeah, and the VS1 levels. Let's zoom in. Move these out of the way just so that we can see price action. And we've got an indecision candle there on the 15 minute, which is wicks either side and closing in the middle 15%. If we just have a look at the 5 minute, See what that looks like. You actually get to see that lower, lower, lower close that I was talking about. Okay, so here it is. You can see that there was the lower, lower, lower close. I had my orders set right at the top here. We've now had a long wick candle, and we've closed in the lower 50%. We go back out to the 15 minute, and just to show you these other structure levels, we did see some reaction there, nothing major, but obviously we have seen a reaction, and obviously we're not looking for a major move here. So here on the 15 minute, it's this yellow line. You can see here as well. You can see here and here. Okay, I'm going to have to swap my mouses over. I'm still waiting for that new mouse to come from America. I don't think there's anything further left. Nope. Okay, so it's an area that's been respected, coming in at that 180-150s level. We had the lower, lower, lower close. What we've been doing here really is we rallied up. We had a high and tight flag. We broke above it. We saw a pullback, as you can see, back into the structure level, and we're making our way up. As we're going up, we've just seen a little bit of resistance coming into that AB equals CD pattern with the 1618 inversion, the 1414 extension, which is what I need to see together. And then if it comes into structure and gives me an entry reason, I can use that then to go ahead and get short, which is exactly what I have done on this trade. So I've been waffling on for a bit. We're back at break even now. There's not a great deal of money in this trade. We're looking at just 13 pips to target one now. Do that again. 24 pips to target two. And the risk on this trade is 10. So a little overall 1-to-1 there. I'm going to have to set an alarm here, because I can't sit and wait for an hour for it to potentially do something, or you know, it could just do something within 5 seconds. It moves so quick, the range bar charts. I'm going to have that alarm a little bit higher so I can move to break even, and that's it. We'll come back and see the outcome of the trade. Okay, the only problem with working these range bar charts is that we can move 10 bars within a few seconds. We can move 1 bar every 10 minutes. It just depends how quickly the market is moving. What I'm going to do now is reduce the risk on this trade. We have come within a few pips of that 382, and while I'm playing forward on the 382 fib, I don't want to leave too much risk on the table here, so I'm not moving to break even. I'm going to be a few pips past break even and just really give the trade a little bit of room to breathe. Obviously this is quite a small trade, and the last thing you want is to come within a pip of targets and it instantly turns, stop you out for break even, and then go ahead and hit targets. So the alarm's just been triggered here, so it needs to go past this, a couple of pips for this to take. I think it just does go to show though that even on lower time frames, if you have the risk to reward, and I'm all about risk to reward and risk management, and hence why I've reduced down the risk on this trade, and why I ensured that we still had better than a 1-to-1 risk to reward when I entered. And so, you know, this trade has played out quite nicely. But when you do play the lower time frames, in fact, just while we're talking, let me go ahead and now move a pip past it, break even. And what we need to happen here really is just for this to continue rallying down to hit secondary targets. Any type of real retracement here and we can be stopped out. But yeah, working the lower time frames it is certainly doable. If you work in the range bar charts, you got to be sat here because these things happen very, very quickly. But it offers you so much opportunity on the range bar charts. And it's just a great way if you're happy to day trade on the range bar charts and there's nothing on the higher time frames. As long as you're consistent, then you know these pips can rack up, and on these type of patterns and on the range bar charts, you know, it's amazing sometimes you see these big rallies where they just head in one direction, they just don't stop. And look at what's happened here. This has just been nothing but a directional move, and we could see a directional move all the way down here to targets, making it very pain-free. Just like anything though, the money is in the secondary targets, so if we do get second targets here, I don't want to be counting the pips before we've got them, but it would be 12 pips for target 2, because obviously we're banking half, and 6.5 for target 1s, and if we can get secondary targets here, it's a nice 18.5 pip move. Probably after fees we're looking at 17 pips on what's nothing more than a day trade that really is going to take an hour or less. So we'll come back and see if secondary targets are hit. And there we go, only target 1s on this trade, so not a great deal. Banked around about 6 pips after fees. Wasn't a loser. Obviously it could have been a lot more if we got second targets, but hey ho, it's 6 pips, it's not to be sniffed at.